Gentlemen, thank you so much. And again, I say this every single time I have the pleasure of sitting down with you or anyone who has ever served, is serving, is thinking of serving. Thank you guys for your service.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having us again.
Okay, and this is truly, Sergeant Major, a year unlike any other. It is a huge number, 250 for our country, for other branches of service, and for your beloved Corps. You guys are going to do it really, really big, and for the 3rd Marine
Division Association Guam. Yeah, 250, like you said, Jason. It's very significant, and for anybody's branch of service, our country, but specifically with the Marine Corps, and the way we envision it with the officers of the 3rd Marine Division Association was, we can do it like everyone else, right, and just have a cake cutting ceremony to celebrate our birthday and recognize the oldest and youngest, and of course read General Lejeune's birthday message. But what could we do different? Last year we did it at the Aspen Beach Landing, which means a lot to us as 3rd Marine Division Association. But this year we took a different spin, because we are where America's Day begins. We are holding a sunset cake cutting ceremony to reflect as the sun may set on 10 November on Guam, and it may rise on the continental United States. It causes us to reflect on the years that we served in the Marine Corps over the 250 of the existence of our Corps, to reflect on our service to our nation and our representation of us being from Guam or the Pacific Islands, and representing who we are as a people in our branch of service we call the Marine Corps.
And you guys continue to serve in your capacity right now. And of course, Vince, you serve as the lead instructor over at Okkodo. And Roy, I mean, you've done so many community service initiatives, emceeing events, really rallying people, making sure that people understand. But what do you guys do when you introspect and, reflect on the fact that, even when you guys served at that point, there were like, over 200 years of people enlisting, going through boot camp, putting on the uniform, representing the Corps the way that they did. That's a huge legacy.
It is, right? And we can only hope that when we go through service as Marines, we were just talking about this earlier, that when we go through service, we only hope that we are worthy enough of the Marines that came before us. And then when we are leaving the service, we only hope that the next generation that we pass the torch to is prepared to carry on that legacy. So while we celebrate 250 years, we also want to make sure that looking forward to the next 250 years, the Marine Corps and the Marines that carry on that torch, always remember those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, those that have given up, and served 20, 30 years, or even if it was your traditional four-year contract or whatever it may be. You're a Marine, and once you've earned that title is yours forever. And the service that Vince and I and a bunch of other Marines do is a way to pay back. It's a way to pay back the community. We left our island. We served in the Marine Corps. We picked up leadership traits. We learned a lot of different things while we were abroad. And it's an honor to be able to come back and serve in different capacities so that we can give back to the community. And you're right. I've served as MC at numerous events. I currently run, of course, a nonprofit organization, Got Your 671. We work with all branches of service, working with our veterans. Many different hats that we wear. We can only look forward to celebrating this year and hope that let's face it, right? To be celebrating 250 years, it's the perfect time, perfect place, and it is an absolute honor for us to be able to celebrate. But we're not the only ones celebrating. We'll start first with the Camp Blaz. The Marines up there are going to have their ball November 7th. And the deadline to purchase your tickets is October 31st. You can give them a call up at Camp Blaz. That's the official ceremony that they're going to have on November 7th. And then immediately following that, our friends, our brothers, our fellow Marines with the Once a Marine, Always a Marine organization, they're having a picnic. That's down at the Inalahan Pools from 12 to 5. That's on November 8th. So we'll join them there as well. And then our ceremony is going to be on the day of the actual Marine Corps birthday. And that's sunset, 17:30, aka 5:30 in the afternoon. And
For
we're still looking
civilians.
at yeah, for civilians, and we're still looking at the same place, Aston Beach Landing.
Yes.
And so we're going to be down there at the Aston Beach Park. Hey, park officials, we've tried to reach you. Unfortunately, the office is closed, so just giving you some heads up. We'll be there. We'll clean up after ourselves and all that good stuff. But,
I'll pass the word along to the Rangers. And
awesome. But we invite everybody to those 3 major events. November 7th, join us at the ball. If you can still fit your blues, rock them. If not, wear your Marine Corps pin, whatever it is, show up. November 8th, if, get over the hangover, come down to the Lahan pools, 12 to 5, once a Marine, always a Marine. Take a break on Sunday, Monday. Join us on Tuesday, November 10th. And we'll be there again at the Aston Beach Landing Zone. Real light refreshments where we're going to go through the entire ceremony to honor not only the Marines, but those that have served with us. Our fellow corpsmen and 2 notable names I'll drop, right? Our buddy Lee Weber and Uncle Johnny Atulai, great corpsmen. They're both, Vietnam veterans, and we hope to see their presence there as well. And there's a bunch of our fellow brothers, that served in different branches that worked and or served alongside the Marines. Come on down, let's have a good time.
Mr. Weber's actually my dad's party, so
there you go. Okay. So that's a short stint of the events that are going to be coming up. And it's just an honor. It's just an honor to be able to be part of this.
Okay, I want to talk real quick about you guys because you both have mentioned the the landing over there, and there is that wonderful Marine memorial.
And the iceberg.
Yeah, exactly. And you get the anchor and the globe.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been there several times, but as a civilian and as a journalist and everything. And maybe it's the way that the trees kind of surround it, or it's the orientation against the waves and stuff. But that patch of land, Vince, it just feels different. It sounds different.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a different stretch of land, even from 500 feet to the left, like at the beach and everything like that. There's just something incredibly serene. And when I was talking to
surreal, man. I mean,
I was talking to Colonel Gouveia, and he goes, "For us, this is hallowed ground for any Marine.
It's sacred ground, man. And during the battle, it was called the Devil's Horns. And you really think about it, man. When they landed on that spot, the Marines were going face to face with the devil at the time, the enemy at the time, right? But if you're looking at the history of that piece of land, man, where the Marines landed, they went up against a formidable enemy, right? They repelled the assault, and they continued the assault up to Fonte Point. That patch of land ended up becoming a medical site, right, where all the casualties were assembled. Well, later on in the battle, man, the Japanese, we're going to attack that hospital site. So the Marines went into the tents and started giving weapons to every person that was in there. And they told them, if you're able to pull the trigger, defend yourself. So
Force multiplier, essentially.
Correct. And the Japanese came in with their tanks and rolled through the tents, right? And, man, for those who fought to the very end, man, I mean, those are the, like Roy said, right? We look back at the legacy that was before us, the path that was paved before us. And I would offer to say, man, that's any branch of service, right? That's any branch of service. Is you don't want to be the person that says, oh, yeah, that guy or that gal from Guam, not living up to it, right? Mm-hmm. So, when we came in the Marine Corps, we came in the Marine Corps and we didn't have name tapes on our camis yet. I think we were the last holdouts of the branches of services. And then we had name tapes put on our uniforms. And I remember being a drill instructor, and I'm telling my recruits, hey, there's 2 important things on that uniform that you're wearing. U.S. Marines and your last name. Defend it. Defend it. And for us in Guam, man, you don't got to tell us that. And the mere fact that as soon as you say that you're from Guam, there's an expectation. There's an expectation, man, and you better fulfill it.
Tell me about that, because serving in any branch, particularly the Corps, lines up so well for who we are as Guamanians, because you have respect, you understand community
our ethics,
service,
morals, and our values, man.
And you also love to fight.
Yes, yeah.
Depending on what village you're from.
Right. I think it's all villages, but not saying
some more than others.
Yeah, not saying that that's part of our.
Hey, and I grew up in Dedido, man.
Our values, but I mean, it is what it is, right? It's we're very, very prideful, but we're also grounded with humility. And I think that, not really think, man, I'm confident that's what separates us from a lot of people, you know. And, you going back to what you were saying is, when I came in the Marine Corps, there were people that served with my father. And everywhere I went, there was somebody that knew my dad. And it's like, oh, you're Joe Santiago's son. I'm like, oh, man, I got to give an extra 10% more, man, because there's an expectation I got to live up to.
But at some point, does it stop becoming pressure and become like, it's a thing of that?
Of course,
it's a metal. It's a ribbon you don't wear.
I think it was dual, man. I think it was a pressure, and then there was pride with it, right? There's a pressure of not letting the legacy of my father down, but the pride of, heck yeah, man, that's my dad. You know, that's my dad.
What rank did your dad finish at?
So he passed away at the rank of gunnery sergeant. He was selected for first sergeant, passed away. I was only 12.
So you hit E7.
Yeah, man. And back in those days, man, that was very, very significant, right? Because there was still a lot of things that all branches of services were dealing with post-Vietnam, racism within the branches of services. But look where we're at now. I mean, I got both my boys in the Marine Corps, and one of them's a drill instructor. One of them is going to be commissioned to a second lieutenant come December. But it's that pride, right? And I look back, and they too are going through the same thing. They can't go anywhere without somebody in the Marine Corps saying, yeah, we know your dad.
And then there's also, Roy, maybe you can speak to this because you embody this so well, but I mean, yeah, Marines are warfighters. You're trained in a moment's notice. If really tough things have to be done, you guys are ready to roll. But at the same time, Marine leadership have always emphasized it. We're also fighting for the little guy. If someone needs people to pass out water, to give food to people that don't have it and everything like that, we're first guys up too. So there is that service aspect. Toys for Tots.
Exactly. There's always the warrior's ethos, right? While we are trained to fight the enemy tooth and nail, there is a higher standard, I believe. Personally, I believe there is a higher standard that the Marines carry upon themselves because of the title, because of the uniform, because of everything that has come before us. And let's face it, right? World War II was one of the first major battles. Well, let's put it this way. It was a major battle that came to Guam, and the Marines were here along with, I think it was the 177th and with Army Corps, Army Group, whatever it was, Coast Guard.
Obviously the Navy, yeah.
And it was a multifaceted force that came over to the island, but it's called Marine Corps Drive because where they landed, they pushed all the way up through Jigo and things like that. And if you look at our culture, where I put the two and two together is, you've got all these Marines coming from all over the country to liberate the island, give our island freedom. And my perspective on the whole thing is our ancestors, our grandfathers, our forefathers, what did we have? They had sons, they had daughters. And how do you repay Uncle Sam for giving you your freedom? It's, my son is going to go be that man that's going to give somebody else around this world their freedom. And so we have a very rich history of sending our sons, sending our children to go serve in the different branches of the Department of War now. And that's a tradition that has carried on generation after generation, and it's become a very huge sense of pride. Everywhere on this island, almost every household you go into, there is either a veteran or a family member of a veteran on this island. I mean, when you talk about per capita, people talk about Texas is a very patriotic state. Sure, hold my beer. I think they enlist at 5%. We're enlisting at somewhere around 13%. So there is a lot of...
There's a general that once told me, I think, he said that historically now, the stats work out that 1 out of every 8 Guamanians has served.
You call it family tradition. You talk about, better opportunities maybe for leaving the island, whatever it may be. But I went into Army basic training back in 1994. And there, too, there was an expectation. I ran into, and I still remember, Sergeant Ascension. First meeting with Sergeant Ascension was, boy, where are you from? So I'm from Guam. He goes, what village? I said, Agate. He goes, boy, just drop. I'm thinking, I just met this guy. I don't even know him. He doesn't know my family. He goes, boy, we're expected to perform a lot better than everybody else. We are challenged already coming into this branch of service, into this life. You're going to be We're going to make you stronger. We're going to make you faster.
I figure he either could have dropped you for push-ups or he could have desk at your ear, right?
Exactly.
He could have gone Antigo on you.
Exactly. And lo and behold, I'm pretty sure when we were in the service, and Vince has probably done the same thing too. People run up to him and it's like, where are you from? Who are your parents? So on and so forth. All right, son, go ahead and just, push the earth. And it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of belonging. And in looking out for the little guy and looking out for that, it's our duty. It's our responsibility to make sure that that little guy is also heard, to make sure that the guy who cannot defend himself has somebody there to be able to help protect him. And it became a sense of pride, I believe, for my grandfathers, for my granduncles, for Joe, for Vince's father, to say, I proudly wore this uniform. And I'm proudly going to ask my son to join, or if he does join, I'm going to support him 100%.
And that's the other thing, Vince, is not everybody can become a Marine.
Yes.
And I know recruiters are like, they go around and they talk to young people and they're like,
Yes.
we're looking for people with a certain ethos, with a certain personality. If you think you have that, come talk to me and everything like that. But not everybody can do this job.
Yeah, it's the challenge, right? It's the challenge. Trying very hard not to talk bad about our brothers and sister services, man. But hey, it's about the Marine Corps, man. It's 250 years, and I'm going to quote here from the Commandant, right? Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Eric Smith. Our legacy as Marines has been built on our unwavering fighting spirit, strict adherence to the highest standards, and formidable marksmanship skills. Now, we talk about the highest standards. I mean, come on, man. Specifically, Guamanians. We talk about high standards. There's some high standards. But you go in the Marine Corps, it's a different type of standard, right? It's
not just good enough, not just enough to pass.
Yeah, because once you compromise the standards, man, you have no ground to stand on, right? You become you've now shown the chink in your armor, right? And we talk about ethics, morals, and values, and it's a person that rises above the pressures of the world to do the right thing when no one else is willing to do it, right? And it can come from any walk of life, not just from Guam. It's just that specific person who has the pride to call themselves a Marine.
And that integrity continues in each and every one who has ever served.
Yes.
Any capacity. Enlisted officers.
Yes. 100%.
So how do you guys now? You continue to serve and you continue to be affiliated with the Corps. But when you see a 23-year-old first lieutenant,
yes,
technically he outranked you.
Yeah.
Outranks you. But you've got the experience. What do you say to like young Marines? You may see someone who's like fresh out of boot camp, still skinny and everything, or the gunny who like barely fits in his uniform because he's so jacked.
So jacked, yeah. I mean,
what do you say to those guys?
It's what I would say is, as a sergeant major, right? Our country, when we swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, our way of life, right? We're signing a document, but when it's all done and over with, it's a promise. It's a personal promise. I'm promising. I'm giving you my word, right? So that's what it comes down to, and it's our nation is keeping the faith in us, and we have to keep the faith in our nation, right? But it's much bigger than that. Roy and I, we talked about, since we've been here, we talked about fighting in war, fighting in combat, and I hope none of our kids have to go to combat, man, because it's a tough thing, all right, to endure, but it's the thing that we choose to do, right? It's a price you pay for the life you choose, and when it's all done and over with, God bless America. Love our red, white, and blue, apple pie, baseball. We love it all, but when it's all done and over with, it's about the guy to my left and my right. That's why I'm fighting. Because I'm not going to let him down. I'm not going to let him down. And that's what I would tell these young leaders, because that's who they are. They're leaders. They may be an E3 or second lieutenant, but you're a leader. And that's the way we train in the Marine Corps. It's like, you're a leader now. Not when I make you a leader. You're a leader now. And this thing we call the Marine Corps, and you call a squad or a department, is your laboratory. And you're expected to make mistakes because people like us are there to help you along the way when you should stumble and fall. We're going to pick you up. And I tell the story like when you're on the path of your career, sometimes that path it's got sakati in it, right? It's got the gravel road, right? You got potholes, but it's the path you're on. And sometimes that path is tight, right? And you're walking a fine line. And sometimes it gets dark. And every now and then, you may be getting into the sakati, man. You may be getting into the jungle, right? You're like, dang, dude. And then all of a sudden, you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Then you feel this warmth on the back of your neck, guiding you back on that path. Well, what that is, man, is the company gunny putting his hand around your neck, picking you up, and putting you back on the path, saying, hey, listen up, knucklehead. Get back on the path and stay the path. Well, what I will tell my young Marines when they become senior staff NCOs and senior officers is when you're on that path, every now and then you got to take a look back. And you got to tell the people behind you, step where I step. To follow the legacy that is already paved in front of me, that I have the honor, the privilege, but more importantly, the responsibility to continue to set that path for everyone that follows.
All right. Go ahead, Roy.
You know, Vince just reminded me about a story, or actually it was a book. I was on my first deployment, and there was a book, and it's been decades. Semper Fi Mac is a book that was written by a son of a World War II Marine. And his father never talked about combat. He never talked about the war. And so what he did was after his father had passed, he retraced the route of where the Marines went. He went through where they went to basic training. He interviewed individuals there. And it was never about tactics. It was always about what did he experience in boot camp and so on and so forth. And crazy enough, he actually interviewed former Governor Ricardo Bardallo and Madeline while they were here on Guam as he was making his rounds. I believe it was in 1983 when they made their ways around here. What I saw very interesting about, found very interesting about that book was the same stories that they told about boot camp and what they experienced in boot camp preparing for World War II. As a lot of that stuff is still carried on to the boot camp that I went through. More likely the same thing that Vince had gone through. And still there. The Marine Corps has not budged. The Marine Corps doesn't budge with its standards.
An old school Marine, like Camp Blaz once told me, like, you know, he came back and he said, I want to ensure that today's Marines got the exact same training and know the traditions that were passed to me.
Exactly.
Because now my job is to pass it down to them.
And
because he said, if it's not, I haven't done my job.
Exactly. And so reading the stories, he interviewed a bunch of different people. He talked about friends, and he talked about what did they experience in boot camp. My uncle Tommy, he's passed on. He fought in the Korean War. My cousin John, he fought in Desert Storm. We have a long history with my first cousins, of all being Marines and things like that. Many of them live stateside. But reading that book, that was my first year of being in the Corps. Reading that book saying, wow, everything that we're talking about, the details of how they were treated and so on and so forth, everything still resonated. Even interviewing the individuals from World War II all the way till today. I'm like, thank you. You know, I was like, this is a great book. It was a short read, but it reminded me of how everything is connected where we're at. You know, like I said, he came through Guam. He talked about hospitals being here in Guam. When the Marines were being brought back in medevac from Okinawa and so on and so forth, there were stories about how a Marine finally got his mail, and he received two canned orange juice, 2 of the 1 gallon orange juice. And he's thinking, I have a sickness. I'm using the restroom all the time. What am I going to do with orange juice? Oh, that acidity. He chucks it out the back of the tent. And then as he's going through the letter, he gets a letter from his sister. He says, hey, brother, isn't it great how Dad was able to empty the orange juice, fill it with whiskey, solder it back closed, and get it to you? He jumped out of that hospital bed, went to the back, and retrieved those 2 cans of orange juice. And needless to say, that tent for the next week or so had a really good time. But it's what typical Marines do, right? We know how to, we work hard, we play hard, we fight hard, and
improvise,
we
adapt, overcome.
Yeah. So it's just Semper Fi Mac. Now, that's a book I've got to go back and resurrect. It speaks volumes, and it shows how the standards are still maintained today.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, let's wrap up on where we started. So 250 years, and I have said any branch of the military, so Instagram, Facebook, and like the world is connected right now. They have nothing on the military, right? Because you guys always keep in touch. You guys have that very close connection. But if there are any service people, family members, I know you guys, a particular place in your heart is for the Gold Star families too.
Oh man, 100%.
Absolutely. But if people just are not aware of what's going on, how can people get in touch with you to find out what we're doing to celebrate 250
Well, it's
years?
interesting you say that because Roy is our public information officer, man. This guy's done a phenomenal job, man. But
everybody knows Roy.
I mean, that's why I selected him, and unknowingly to him, he was selected. But
you've been listed twice, essentially.
Yeah, and I'll be remiss to say this, right? It's in the wars that we have fought, man. No one has ever fought alone, right? We've always fought together. So if you're out there, if you have ever served with the United States Marine in any capacity, please come and celebrate our birthday, our 250 years of our Corps with us. It would be great to see you come there. The CO, Camp Blaz, the Sergeant Major, and his whole entire team up there, the Chief of Staff, all of them. It'd be great to break bread, cut a piece of cake, and share the stories, that Roy and I have just shared, and smile about things, and look back at 250 years of running and gunning as the United States Marines, right? But it's not just about that. It's about taking care of each other, even when we're not willing to take care of ourselves, but throughout our service and beyond. Like right now with Roy and I as veterans, like Roy's group, GY 671, and with the 3rd Marine Division Guam chapter, we are doing things that that's good not only for all veterans, but for our island and our families.
Sorry, bonus question. When you guys go up to Camp Blaz, as vets, you guys have earned the privileges, the rights, the respect of everybody. When you guys go there, how are you embraced, viewed, spoken to, by active servicemen, buck privates, colonels, everything
Jason,
like that.
man, that's a great question, man. And I got to tell you this.
Because you guys are giving it to them, they're also giving it back.
It all starts with that leatherneck at the gate, right? It starts with that leatherneck at the gate. When you come to the gate and that Marine looks at your ID card and recognizes that you're a Marine, it's a good morning, Sergeant Major. It's like, good morning, Devil. Thanks for doing what you're doing. It's that, man. I don't care. And I have over 31 years in the Marine Corps when I finally retired. But I marked that installation or base wherever I went with whoever was at the gate. I don't care what branch of service you were in. Do you look the part? Do you smell the part? Right? If I come through the gate and you're complacent in your responsibilities, or more importantly, you're not representing your service correctly, that speaks volumes, man. So it all starts with that leatherneck at the gate at Camp Blaz. And those Marines are doing freaking phenomenal, man. They're doing phenomenal. And it's not just the Marines. It's the sailors that are there. It's the civilians that are there. It's everyone who's there that makes up Team Camp Blaz. And, man, I'm getting freaking motivated just talking about it because it's who we are. It's who we are as Marines. Like, it doesn't matter what job you had, where you were stationed at, whether or not you went to combat or not. The commonality is that you're a United States Marine.
You're not just some guy with an ID who still has the haircut, but is just going to the exchange.
Correct.
You are a brother.
Correct, and that's what it's about, right? Man, Roy and I think every veteran Marine has taken the extra 10 minutes of a young Marine's time and try to pass on our wisdom, right? Whether they liked it or not, it's going back to what Roy said. It's how can we make it better?
And they'll do the same thing 30 years from now.
Paying it forward. So I hope that answered your question,
Absolutely.
Man. But yeah, beautiful base up there.
Awesome. Not to add to it, anything like that, but just to recap on what we want to do or how we invite, and we want people to celebrate the 250th, right? It's going to start November 7th, Dusitani. That's for the Marine Corps Ball. If you have your blues, rock them. If you can't fit those blues, don't get them adjusted, because typical traditional Marine Corps, I don't know if it's admin or an order, whatever it may be, but the size you left the Corps with your blues is the size you have to fit back into. You don't adjust your blues to fit to you.
I didn't know that.
That's what I learned over the years, right? Is like you don't adjust it, and all of a sudden you've got a size 58, whatever it may be. No, if you left a size 46 long, you get back into a 46 long. That's my rule. So I have ribbons that I can put on a suit because, when you're in the Marine Corps, you're a little bit more fit, right?
You're still going to look sharp regardless.
Yeah, we'll take the headshots. We'll take the headshots all day long. So that's November 7th, right? That's Camp Blaz, the Marine Corps Ball, Dusitani 7. November 7th. Once a Marine, always a Marine, 12 to 5 in Alahan Pools. Uncle Frank and the boys down there, Uncle Ken, all those guys, it's always a blast at that party. It's a great picnic. Recover on Sunday, rest a little bit on Monday, and then join us again Tuesday night, sunset ceremony, Aspen Beach Park. We're going to have the traditional ceremony to honor all the Marines and the sailors and the soldiers, airmen that came before us, as we celebrate moving forward with our cake cutting, the reading of the General Lejeune's birthday message, and then we'll have some light refreshments and just hang out and talk story.
And there is the important distinction to make, because even though you guys love your beloved Corps and everything like that, you guys are part of a bigger team, which is the Armed Forces of the United States.
We can't do it alone. We can't do it alone, right? I mean,
have some pride for your own unit, your own branch of service
course.
and everything. But you guys are part of a bigger unit.
And I would be remiss to say if we didn't say happy birthday to our older brother of the Army. Their birthday was in June. I believe it was June 14 or 15. So happy birthday to them. Hey, come and celebrate with us too now. Your younger, slightly younger brother.
Maybe just had their party a couple weeks ago.
And then November 11th, right, Veterans Day. And that's going to be down at Epau Beach Park at 11 in the morning. So it's going to be a busy weekend. Hydrate. And hey, let's celebrate each other. Let's celebrate our service. Let's celebrate together. And, remember why. Remember why we decided to raise our right hand. And, let's meet, let's rekindle some old friendships and all that good stuff. So please come on out to one or all of these events. We hope to see everybody there.
Yeah. So real quick, the Camp Blaz birthday ball, it's going to be special. We have First Sergeant Jan Pakagi, who's the Marine instructor at Okkodo High School with me. He's their guest of honor. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. A fellow flat black is going to be the guest of honor of the ball. So that's going to be pretty impressive. We look forward to hearing his remarks. He delivered great remarks down at the Aspen Beach Landing for the liberation for Aspen Maina mayor's office. And
he's a Santa Rita Marine too.
Yeah, well, he's actually Georgia guy.
Oh, he's Georgia. Oh, that's right. He lives in Santa Rita
he's
now.
Actually Georgia, man. Matter of fact, I think he's the co-author of the Georgia Rules, man. So, yeah, so he's a great Marine, man. Great leatherneck, and I'm proud to have served with him in Iraq, and definitely proud to serve alongside of him as a JROTC instructor.
Absolutely. So, guys, Semper Fi, man.
All right.